Hello and welcome to this edition of the Indiana State Police Public Information Program. I'm your host, Sergeant Dave Burston, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police at the Indianapolis Post. Well, I hope that you're going to enjoy today's program, especially if you are interested in a career in law enforcement or perhaps you know someone that is. This is the program for them to watch. Why? Because the Indiana State Police is currently accepting applications for position of police officer with the Indiana State Police, and we're going to dedicate this program to telling you about that process and how to learn more about it and apply for the department. So please stay tuned. We've got lots more for you, plus a special guest from the northern part of the state. We'll be right back after these messages.
Cody, can you say that?
8,
12,
13,
13.
14.
They can't get that far.
15.
1.
1.
Cody said yay! You little ham.
Get the keys. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Hello and welcome back. We certainly enjoy the fact that you've chosen to join us for the Indiana State Police Public Information Program. And as mentioned at our introduction, we're going to be talking about recruiting efforts of the Indiana State Police. And I'd like to introduce our guest, Sergeant Ray Poole, who is from the Poole post in northern Indiana. Ray, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Dave, and I'm very glad to be here.
It's good to have you here. I know it's a bit of a drive from Peru to make it down here to Indy for filming the program, and I appreciate the effort. What I'd like to do is start out with you telling our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you came to be on the state police, and now you're just completing your 14th year, correct?
That is correct. What I remember as a young guy growing up in Anderson, hearing kids getting into trouble and talking about drinking when they were at school and going to lunch hours and sneaking drinks, and there was really no true outlet for us back then to kind of face no kind of support groups. Mm-hmm. So I just took it upon myself. You know, I made a stand that being an older, bigger brother and different things like that, I was going to try to be a role model to my sisters growing up. But
so you felt some personal responsibility.
Very much so, very much so. And from there, I carried it on, thinking keeping myself out of trouble would put me in line for something in the future. And knowing back then, not knowing any information, that I didn't know I wanted to be a police officer, but it was kind of the logical choice. And from there, I was fortunate enough to go to college and go to Indiana State for 3 years, and then the opportunity arose that I was able to apply for the department.
What year did you join the state police?
1984 is when I started the process.
And what assignments have you had since you've been on the department?
My first assignment was the Lowell post, and that
up north in the region.
In the region, and I actually started in Lake County. And from a young guy coming from Anderson, Indiana, that was a whole big step. It was a totally different step, but I was fortunate to learn quite a bit while I was there, and I was fortunate enough to meet some good people up there. And the connotation that I had was totally different once I started working up there.
So after working in the Lowell area, where did you go from there?
I transferred to the Pendleton post because that's home, and I worked there 6.5 years at part-time as a road trooper, approximately 3 years, and then the other 3.5 years I spent as a desk duty corporal. Mm-hmm. And I worked inside learning the administrative staff, learning the ins and outs of how to supervise on the junior level.
Now from there, you are currently assigned as a public information officer from the Poole post, and you've been at Poole how long, and what attracted you to public information?
I think that was my natural niche. Is since going way back to when I was a young guy, I was not able to voice my opinion, but this way, becoming a public information officer and just being a police officer in general, you're a role model, like it or not. Mm-hmm. So
true.
From there, people are actually listening to what you have to say as a public information officer. You come because they want you there. You're you're the audience, and they're there to listen to you. And so I get my message out as far as drinking and driving. The safety tips that are so very important in these days and times. You talk to a gamut of people, and you also get a chance to meet a lot of different people.
Yeah, you certainly do, from speaking to church organizations to dealing specifically with the media. And I think what it's helping to tell, because we're talking about recruiting, and we'll kind of delve into some of the diverse responsibilities as a police officer. A lot of people may think of police work being just one aspect of arresting people and things of that nature, but there are many career paths within a department to take.
Exactly. And being a public information officer is, in my opinion, one of the greatest, because you are the mouthpiece for your district and the state police.
Now, we're going to have to take a break here in about 30 seconds, but when we come back, what I'd like to do is share with our listeners what some of the basic requirements are, with our viewers, what the basic requirements are to just meet the minimum requirements to apply to the state police. And you hit a couple of them already in just talking about your history, education being one of them. So please stay tuned. We're going to be coming right back with lots more information. We're going to get into the specifics of your minimum basic requirements to have your application accepted with the state police. But first, stay tuned to these messages. We'll be right back.
George watched the Goslings swim. And they swam, and they swam.
From birth to age 3 are the most important years in a child's brain development. The time that defines who they become.
They saw a little baby.
Oh, Maria! Elmo sure is excited about going for a ride.
Same here.
Elmo wants to sit in the front seat.
Elmo must sit in the back.
In the back?
Kids always sit in the back, Elmo, with safety belts fastened. Look at Gabby.
And little kids sit in special safety seats.
A special seat?
That's right, Elmo. You ready?
Yeah!
Remember, kids sit in the back seat and everyone buckles up.
While walking in a toy store the day before today, I overheard a crayon box with many things to say.
I don't like red, said Yellow, and Green said, nor do I. And no one here likes orange, but no one knows just why.
Well, I bought that box of crayons and took it home with me and drew with all the colors so the crayons could all see.
That each of us is special and everyone's unique, but it's when we get together that the picture is complete.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just now joining us, we're speaking with our guest from the Peru Post, Public Information Officer Ray Poole, Sergeant Ray Poole, a 14-year veteran of the department. And we're going to be talking about career opportunities with the Indiana State Police and basically what it takes to submit an application for employment as a police officer with the Indiana State Police. Ray, we've been talking a little bit about your background, and you actually touched on a few of the things that are within the basic requirements. And let's talk about those minimum, and I want to stress the point, maybe you can elaborate, that these are minimum requirements to have your application accepted.
Okay, first and foremost, you have to be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, and that's got to be documented, and you've got to be able to show that you are a U.S. citizen.
Exactly. You must be a minimum age of 21 years old.
Now, there's the purpose for that because that's state law.
Exactly, state law.
And there is also a maximum age, correct?
Which is 34 years old.
Now, some people listening may not understand why, but that has to do with the ability to complete 25 years
exactly
with the state police retirement fund so that you can eligibly retire from the department with 25 years service.
And I want to stress it has to be 34 years old upon completion of the academy, not turning or getting ready to turn, but maximum age of 34 years.
So somebody can start the training, and the recruit school that we're talking about finishes what day in 1999?
July 11th.
July 11th. So if their birthday is on July 12th, they're in good shape. Because they turned 34 the day after graduation.
Exactly. They're in great shape.
On the opposite end of that, is the appointment age. You can feasibly enter the academy when you're still 20 years of age.
That's exactly true.
Because I did. I turned 21 in the academy, so long as you complete your birthday that you are 21 before the date of graduation.
Exactly.
Other requirements.
Eyesight correctable to 20/50.
And that used to be a big stumbling block for a lot of people, but now with the different types of laser surgery that are available, and often that may be covered by existing insurance,
Exactly.
That's less of a problem for people now than it used to be.
That's very much true.
And other requirements?
Possess a valid driver's license. And that goes without saying.
And that starts to get into some of the areas, and we'll talk about these later as far as the process for your application. You want to have a pretty clean driving record, don't you?
I would say because you don't want to have a lot of points or a lot of convictions of reckless driving or driving under the influence or different things like that. We want the cream of the crop when that people come on the department. We want the people that are the best people that they can be.
Excellent point. Any other qualifications?
Yes, we have willing to reside anywhere in the state of Indiana, which is a big reason for people not applying.
And it's sometimes people may forget that we are a paramilitary organization, and if you think of people that join the military, they have expressed their willingness to go virtually anywhere in the world. Really the only requirement we're asking for a commitment to is that you be willing to reside and work anywhere in the state of Indiana, and you always have the opportunity, such as you did after a couple of years at your first assignment, to transfer.
Exactly. You can transfer back home or to any other post that you desire if there's an opening at that particular post or district.
And there's always going to be an opening eventually. People are retiring. As we hire additional people, those that are already on the department receive preference for assignments. So we have all of those considerations.
Exactly.
Now we've left out one area, haven't we?
Yes, and this is one of the major areas that has changed over the years that people are applying 10 or 15 years ago did not have to mess with, but now we're requiring higher education from our people applying, and you have to have at least completed, and this is completed 60 semester hours or 90 quarter hours at an accredited college.
Now that's based on a 4.0 grading scale, correct?
Right, and a minimum of 2.0 grade point average, GPA.
So a C average successful completion.
Exactly.
So that gives us a good overview of what those requirements are, and when we come back we're going to talk about how you get an application, submitting it, and the steps that you will go through in the application process. But first, please listen to these messages. We'll be right back.
While walking in a toy store the day before today, I overheard a crayon box with many things to say.
I don't like red, said Yellow, and Green said, nor do I. And no one here likes orange, but no one knows just why.
Well, I bought that box of crayons and took it home with me and drew with all the colors so the crayons could all see.
That each of us is special and everyone's unique, but it's when we get together that the picture is complete.
Come and have some. So today is your birthday, that is what I've been told. What a wonderful birthday, you're 1 year old. On the cake there'll be candles all lighted for you, and the whole world is singing happy birthday to you.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will? Do whatever it takes.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the recruiting efforts of the Indiana State Police, and our guest today is Sergeant Ray Poole from the Peru District in northern Indiana. And Ray, we just went through the various hiring segments, or the process for the application, from the written exam to the oral interview to the polygraph, background investigation, fitness, and all of those things. That's what makes the process so long.
Exactly. It's a lengthy process, and when you're applying for the department, don't think it's going to happen lickety-split. It's going to take a long process, close to 6 months, I would say.
Exactly. And I think it would be worthwhile to repeat that phone number. If somebody needs an application, they can go to a state police post, or they can call 1-800.
622-4995, and that is the Indiana State Police Human Resource Division.
And please keep in mind that that 800 number is only good inside the state of Indiana. That's only good inside the state of Indiana. If you are viewing this program and you have a friend that lives out of Indiana that you want to tell about this, or a family member, then they need to call the toll number, which is
317-232-8277.
And that number again is 317-232-8277. Okay, Ray, we're going to assume nothing but positive things. We're going to assume that somebody's submitted their application, they've gone through all these steps, and they are notified that they are set to start the recruit school January 1999. They've gone through recruit school, passed it with flying colors. What happens from graduation day forward?
Well, that person would be assigned a district. And first we want to kind of mention that training is paid.
Excellent point.
It's paid training going through the academy, so the family members don't have to go without funds or anything like that.
And it's this is one of the few professions that they actually pay you to learn the skill.
Exactly.
And it's nothing that you'd want to live off of for the rest of your life.
That's true.
But it's enough for subsistence for a family.
Exactly. But going with that point forward, you would be assigned a district, and like we mentioned earlier, it could be anywhere in the state. But then you would be assigned a 3-month probationary period to ride with. Well, take that back. You would be assigned 3 months with a trooper, a field training officer.
It's kind of like on-the-job training to take all the book knowledge and put it to practical use.
Exactly.
So now after that 3 months of on-the-job training where they've been around riding in different parts of their assigned district and working with detectives and working with other troopers, what happens after that 3-month on-the-job training period?
The big day happens where if you're lucky, you will get that big shiny police car, and you will be put out on your own basically to work by yourself in the assigned patrol district or your patrol zone or even county, depends on what the districts are like. And you would be expected to continue your learning process, so to say.
Yes.
As you're training through that first year, you're expected to learn your county, expected to learn all the things that you've been taught at the academy, your field training officers kind of have went over with you, and different things like that.
Putting everything to practical use.
Put it to use.
Now, as a person approaches that 1-year anniversary from graduation, there's still one more hurdle for them to cross.
It's the biggest hurdle, and it's your rookie test, probationary officer's test, whatever you want to call it, and it's giving you a test of all the knowledge that you've gained through that past 12 months.
And then when you pass that, you're permanently assigned as a permanent employee.
Exactly.
Now let's come back and talk a little bit about the financial issues. During that first year, during that probationary year, what is an officer's salary on an annual basis?
You're making a little over $22,000.
And then when you go on to your second year, you get a substantial increase that brings you up to around $25,000 or so. And by your third year, the start of your third year, your annual salary is what?
You're making well over $30,000.
Over $30,000.
Yes.
And you have consistent raises all the way through your 10th year. And by your 10th year, by today's dollars, your salary is a little over $38,000. By your third year, you're over $30,000. Now, also, we've got a few seconds left in this segment. We haven't even touched on benefits. Can you rattle those off real briefly?
Well, the benefit packages are wonderful. The insurance benefits are cheap because we're such a big agency. They can afford to kind of.
So they've got full dental insurance, life, health, and including for your family, it's all inclusive. All inclusive. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back for the close of the program. We've got a little more information for you, so don't go away.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will? Do whatever it takes.
I would like all my friends to
be there. I want my mother to be there. My hair's gonna be done so beautiful. A lot of music, a nice blue dress. I wanna be beautiful for every single person that goes there. If I got shot, I wanna have a nice funeral.
Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. Help stop the violence. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT for free information. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
Hey, you're way too close to this truck. The driver probably doesn't even know you're back here. If he brakes suddenly, where are you gonna go? There's a no zone behind big trucks. It's a huge blind spot. If you can't see his side view mirrors, it's a pretty safe bet he can't see you. That's right. This is one place you really wouldn't want to be caught dead in. Drive smart. Don't hang out in the no zone.
Hello and welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, we are talking about recruitment for the Indiana State Police for people that are interested in a career in law enforcement and what you need to know and how to get an application and how to complete it. Now, this is an important segment of our program because we're going to walk you through step by step getting the application, preparing it, submitting it, and we're going to be giving you some phone numbers. So if you don't already have handy, grab a pencil and paper so you can get that information. Now, Ray, we just talked about the basic requirements in our last segment. Let's take it from the point of somebody is interested that's watching today, or they have a family member that's interested in a law enforcement career. How do they get an application?
First and foremost, you can go to any state police district in the area, in the state, and pick up an application.
And there's 18 of them scattered around the state of Indiana.
Exactly. So that's the first place you can start, or you can contact the Indiana State Police Human Resource Division at 317-232-8277 or 1-800-622-4995.
Now let's repeat that number. That 800 number is 1-800-622-4995. And make the phone call there during normal business hours and request an application, and that will be sent to your home. So now a person has their application. What next? They've got to complete that.
They have to have a completed application submitted to the Human Resources Division by Friday, June 12th, 1998. And that's very important because if you fail to get that in, you're disqualified automatically.
Well, for this process, they would keep the application on file for another recruit school later on in 1999, because we need to clarify that we're in a recruiting process that takes about 6 months to complete, and we are looking for the school that is going to start in January of 99 and will graduate June 12th of 1999. So you've got to get your application in by June 12th of this year, 1999.
Exactly, and be prompt.
So let's assume the person has completed their application, everything is current. You have to include college transcripts certified with
You
that.
have to have a certified college transcript. If your application is not completed in any way, that's automatic disqualification.
They'll send it back to you, tell you what you need to do, but you've got to get it in by that deadline.
You have to have it in by the deadline.
Okay, let's assume that a person has submitted their application, everything is in order, they meet the basic requirements. What can they expect next?
The next step, you will be notified by the area in which you live. What I mean area is the northern part of the state, central part, or the southern part,
okay.
And you will be told to go to that particular site on a particular date for the written examination.
So there's a written exam they have to complete, and that takes a few hours to complete, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. It's set some time off of that day, because if you have to go to work or have to child care to worry about, make sure you have a nice period of time where you know your family members are going to know that you're going to be gone.
Now, after taking that written exam, and if the person successfully completes that, what happens next?
Then there's an oral interview, and from there, it's a board of 6 troopers that you talk in front of.
Mm-hmm. And they ask you things related to law enforcement or not?
No, it's called a structured oral interview, and they're wanting to know how you handle different types of situations. You don't have to be a police officer to apply for the state police position. You just have to have some life experiences.
I see. So from that point of the oral interview, the next step is?
Is the polygraph.
And that's what people sometimes get nervous about because that's more commonly referred to as the lie
detector test. Yes.
And we won't go in depth about that, but basically they're just checking to make sure that you give an accurate information on your.
That's correct.
On your application.
Very correct.
Now after the polygraph, what's after that?
The background interview, and in the earlier segment we kind of talked about my background and how I tried to live a good, clean life, and this is the part where
this is where it pays off.
This is where it pays off right here, and hopefully, well, an investigator or a trooper will come and go through your whole background, your history from basically as a little child or maybe even high school or junior high.
They look back at your previous work record and things of that nature. And then after that, the final 2 points are the fitness and mental evaluation. And we'll talk about those when we come back from the break. But first, please stay tuned for these messages. We'll be right back.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Looking gorgeous, handsome hunky, posing. Say a few words. Who are you? Look at this outfit.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will?
Say cut.
Do whatever it takes.
What else you want me to do?
Last year, over 1 million children came face to face with child abuse. But this year, there's a program that can help stop the abuse before it starts. A program that reaches out to new parents, that teaches them how to cope with the stresses that lead to abuse. But we need your help where you live, because without it, many of the children born today will become victims of abuse tomorrow. Call 1-800-CHILDREN. The more you help, the less they hurt.
Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. It's time we said enough is enough. Find out what you can do. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life, not one more grieving family, not one more.
Hello and welcome back for the close of our program. We want to highlight very quickly the information that we've talked about because it's been a whole lot of information we've given out. First and foremost, the phone numbers are being listed on the screen to call, and also we've got the web address that's being shown. Can people get applications off the web?
Yes, they can. They can download it right off the web.
So just copy down that internet address and you can pull your application from there without making a phone call or anything.
That's correct.
Give us that deadline again, Ray.
Friday, June 12th, 1998 is when the application must be submitted in complete form, and if it's not by that time, it will be placed into the files where we're anticipating another class to start in the latter part of 1999.
So if you miss this deadline, you can start toward the end of 99 or go through the process to hopefully start. And just keep in mind how lengthy the process is.
Exactly, it's a 6 months process, but the thing is you have to remember is do not fail to show up for any segment of the process, because without you showing up means that a chance that you will
drop you from it right there. Well, I certainly hope that you have enjoyed this edition of the Indiana State Police Public Information Program and have learned more about the recruiting aspects and prospects for the state police. Thanks to my guest today, Sergeant Ray Poole from the Peru Post. And if you've watched the program before, you know how it ends. If you're out in the car later today, please remember to buckle up. The life you save may be your own or that of somebody you love. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.